Yeah, I'm going to start these things with a little saying about common sense, a quote about common sense. Christopher Paolini says that because you can't argue with all the fools in the world, it's easier to let them have their own way than trick them when they're not paying attention. A lot of experts out there doing that. Today, my little talk is about teachers. You know, when I was in elementary school, if you get sent to the principal's office, the principal used to grab you by the shoulders and shake you, shaking little kids. Later on, I went to a prep school, boarding school, and I had a teacher there that if he thought you weren't paying attention, would throw a hockey puck at you. Now, it usually wasn't the hockey puck that woke you up, it was the sound of all the other kids diving out of their desks for the floor so they didn't get hit by the hockey puck. That usually woke you up and brought you around. Now, I'm not advocating shaking or throwing hockey pucks at people, but a teacher needs to be able to defend themselves, and they can't do that anymore. Nowadays, if a student verbally attacks a teacher and the teacher responds with verbal abuse or yelling back, the next day the parents are in the principal's office complaining their poor little buttered muffin was verbally abused and his feelings were hurt, and they're going to sue the school, and the teacher winds up in the rubber room. Actually, in New York City there's a room, they call it the rubber room. It's where any teacher that's under suspicion of doing something wrong is sent. They spend the day, every day, through the entire school year in this room. At the end of 6 months to a year, maybe their case will be heard. Maybe some school board or somebody will decide whether or not they actually did anything wrong. But either way, they have to go to this room and get paid to sit there and read for however long school's in session. Now, if the student physically attacks this teacher, the teacher really can't do anything to defend themselves. They obviously can't hit them back. You can't grab them and hold them, until they calm down. That's not an option. That never comes out well. Again, you have parents in there or community activists in there complaining that the child was badly abused by the teacher. Now, I've heard stories of teachers being abusive to children. There's bad apples in every occupation. There are alcoholics in every occupation. There are bullies in every occupation. But I have to say, without knowing the exact numbers, that 95% of the confrontations between teachers and students were started by the students, escalated by the students. And the teacher can't just get up and walk out of the room and leave the balance of the class, 20, 30 students, whatever it is, behind with this person that's obviously having some kind of meltdown. They need to try to deal with it. Just about anything they do towards dealing with it leads to their being punished. So, like I said, not shaking or throwing hockey pucks or slap at them or anything like that. But you need to take the handcuffs off the teacher. The teacher needs to be able to deal with the situation to the best of their ability. And if they're being attacked with force, they need to be able to respond with like force. Not escalate it, but respond with like force. They need to at least be able to defend themselves. And they certainly need to be able to tell a student to shut up and sit down. They can't do that because it hurts their feelings. They need to tell the student to put them in their place. Well, that's my little talk for today. I'll see you tomorrow.